Hi guys, so today I'm going to show you how to make roasted cauliflower. Let's take a look at it. Oh, it's golden brown. This is so good. This is what one cauliflower makes. I'm going to give it a try. I'm just going in there with my fingers. I'm going to have a bunch of these little guys. Oh my God. This is, yeah, I'm going in with my hands again. Oh my God. This is insanely delicious, and it's a vegetable. Oh my God, this is so great. You have to make this at home. Let me show you how. All right, so roasted cauliflower is one of my favorite vegetables to roast. First thing, even before we get into the ingredients, the first thing you're going to need to do is get that oven preheating to 450. That's going to take a while, so you need to get it started before you do anything else. Okay, for the ingredients. You're going to need 1 full cauliflower, just like this. You're going to need some olive oil. If you have at your house turmeric, it is like an Indian spice. It is so delicious. It makes this taste extraordinarily delicious, but it also tastes super good even with just salt and pepper. So turmeric, optional, but delicious. Speaking of salt, okay. For roasting vegetables, I prefer to use kosher salt than regular salt, okay? But you definitely can use regular salt if that's what you've got. Now let me show you the differences. So kosher salt is here in the blue cup and regular salt is in the red cup. So the regular salt, it's hard to get any in your fingertips. Regular salt looks just like sugar, okay? Regular salt is very strong, okay? Now kosher salt, the grains are much, much bigger. This you would not mistake for sugar, okay? Kosher salt is about half as salty as regular salt, okay? So I'm going to use about a teaspoon of this. If I were using regular salt, I would only be using a half teaspoon of that. So a teaspoon of this, kosher, is about the same as a half teaspoon of regular salt. This is easy to pinch in your fingers. I can hold a whole bunch in my fingers. But like I said, if you don't have kosher salt, that's okay, but I cook with it all the time. I like having some on hand. That's all the ingredients you need, so we'll get started. All right, so again, I have my oven preheating to 450. Okay. Now what I already did was I took all the leaves off the bottom of the cauliflower, so it just has the core. I don't want the core either, but it's nice to hold on to the cauliflower. Also, normally I always wash vegetables before I cook with them, but I'm not gonna wash this cauliflower. Why not? Because if it's wet, it doesn't roast very well. Also, it doesn't need it. It's going to be in a 450-degree oven. Anything alive in there is going to be dead. So I'm going to hold the cauliflower like this. Okay, I'm right-handed, so I'm holding it with my left hand. With my knife, I'm going to cut it crosswise like this. I'm not going to go like this. I'm going to go like this. So core in my left hand, knife in my right hand. Like that. It's going to start to get small on me. Okay, a little bit here, a bit here, up here, like that. I want the core left behind, okay? So we don't need that anymore. Now I have some big pieces. I don't want that either. I have some small pieces, okay? These big pieces I want to make smaller. Like that is a better size. So I'm going to work on getting these pieces a little bit cut to size. It's okay if you have like really like rice-sized pieces. That's perfectly fine. This is going to be amazing. You're going to see. Okay, I'm going to come back when I have gotten all this cauliflower a little bit smaller. All right, so I've cut up my cauliflower pieces. Come in and take a good look at how small my pieces are. Okay. Whoops, they're running away. How small my pieces are. Now let me show you an example of too big. See this guy? I left it this way on purpose. This is too big. This guy is not gonna roast right. They gotta be small to be roasting right. So I'm actually gonna get rid of the core in that. I'm gonna cut this guy smaller. That's better. Okay, now in this bowl, look in this bowl, I've got 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I have a teaspoon of my turmeric, and I have a teaspoon of my kosher salt. You could definitely use a half teaspoon of regular salt if you don't have kosher. All right, so all the cauliflower goes into this nice big bowl. Hopefully most of it will actually make it into the bowl. Whoops, a few little runaways, but we'll get those guys. There you go. Okay, pop it in. There you go. So with your hand, now toss everything up. You got to get your hand in there. Your hand can do things that a spoon, a rubber spatula, you can't do, because you got these 5 digits all working at once. Now you'll notice the cauliflower is kind of turning sort of a strange gold color. That's from the turmeric. That wouldn't happen if you left the turmeric out. It would be more white like cauliflower typically is. And as you're doing this, kind of feel, if it doesn't feel like all the pieces have oil on them, add a little more oil. I'm going to add a little bit more oil. It depends on the size of your cauliflower, really. Some cauliflowers are really big, some cauliflowers are smaller. But really get in there. It's going to almost have a popcorny kind of look to it. But let me tell you something. When students have this for the first time, they're really nervous. They're unsure. It's like, ooh, cauliflower. And then they try it and they're like, oh my God, that is so good. If you've ever wondered, how do you get yourself to eat better, eat more veggies? Roasting vegetables is the way. So let me show you how to put this on the baking sheet, then we'll get it cooking. All right, so I used my cooking spray and I sprayed a large rimmed baking sheet. This is not flat, there was a rim there. I've sprayed it with cooking spray. Now I've got my cauliflower and I'm gonna pour it in. Okay, now you don't want to just leave it like that. You need to separate it. Move it around so that there's a lots of space in between all the pieces. And if you had a ton of cauliflower and too small of a baking sheet, use another one or do 2 batches. Because if they're right next to each other, if they're all crowded and crunched up like that, they steam and they don't roast. And the whole beauty of this is roasting them, not steaming them. All right, so that looks great. So I'm gonna put this into the oven, which has reached 450 degrees. And we're gonna go about 15 minutes. Then I'm gonna take them out and give them a turnaround and then put them back in so they're a nice deep golden brown when they're done, and they're gonna be perfect. All right, so it's been 15 minutes and I took it out. So let's take a look at what we got, okay? It looks pretty good. We're getting some browning on it, but you gotta go further than that. It's kind of steamed now, but we want to get it crispy. We want to get it nicely roasted. You'll notice it's getting smaller. It looks like there's less on the pan. There isn't, it's just evaporating. The water that's in the cauliflower is evaporating. So I just give it a little turnaround. So I'm thinking maybe 10 more minutes. We'll see if it's done in 10 minutes. I'm going to put it back in. And then when it's done, I'll take it out. I'll show you what done looks like. All right, guys, it's done. Let's take a look at it. A good look at it. Look, you see how you got that nice deep golden brown. The smaller pieces get a deep golden brown. The bigger pieces are a nice golden brown. That looks great, but take a good look at that. Remember how much cauliflower was in here? This was filled with cauliflower. Why did it shrink so much? It shrunk a lot because cauliflower is mostly water, and the water evaporated in the 450 degree heat. But this is delicious. It's like having just your own version of a super healthy French fries. I hope you try this at home.